Burnley 0, Liverpool 1. Another dominant, brilliant, free-flowing display. Nah, I'm kidding. Another 93rd, 94th minute late goal to win it. And we keep doing it. I got a couple of messages at the end of the game saying that we were lucky. We didn't deserve it. Well, you can look at that two ways. In that we didn't really create that much, but 27 shots, 4 on target versus the home team's 3 shots and 0 on target. 81% possession to 19%. That's got to be some type of record low in a Premier League game, surely. 692 passes to their 166. 87% pass accuracy to their 48, and 13 corners to 1. So in every metric, and let's face it, only one team was trying to win that game. The other team would be very, very happy to get away with a point. So of course we deserved it. We struggled to break them down, but we absolutely deserved that win. Up until they had a man sent off, they played 5-4-1. But it was 5-4-1 in their own half. They literally, their front player was, he wasn't even in the semicircle at the halfway line. He was deeper than that. So this is an incredibly organised Burnley defence. They only conceded 16 goals in 46 league games last season. So they know how to defend. They just don't know how to attack and score goals. And that's exactly what their plan was today. You know, Scott Parker came off a 9-0 when he tried to have a go against Liverpool when he was Bournemouth manager. So this game played out exactly the way it was always going to play out. And we were never ever going to cut them open multiple times and get a 4 or 5-0 win. It was going to be one of them. Now, I didn't think we'd leave it that late. And I thought we'd get a goal which would at least mean they could come out, but we didn't get that goal, did we? So they didn't have to come out for the entire game. And also, you've got to look at the record that Burnley has against us. They've now lost 15 of their 19 Premier League games against Liverpool. Before today, we'd won 8 of 9 away games at Turf Moor. Make that 9 out of 10 now. And 7 in a row. And the other thing that is worth considering, Burnley haven't lost a single home game with Scott Parker as manager. So we're the first team to defeat them for the whole time he's been the Burnley manager. It just shows how hard it is. And I do have to give him credit, you know, because that was a brilliant defensive display. So incredibly organised. Every player knowing their job and doing it to the max. And so it was very, very difficult to find any space or get behind them. As for us, it is only the 3rd time in the Premier League era that we have started the league campaign with 4 wins out of 4. And in the other 2, we finished 2nd and then we finished 1st. We end the day 3 points clear of Arsenal and Spurs, 4 points clear of Chelsea, and 6 points clear of Manchester City after 4 games. You can't ask for better than that. So, in terms of the game, the first half, far too pedestrian. It reminded me of how pedestrian we were in the first half against Arsenal. And yet Burnley didn't want to come at us at all. But it was slow. It was slow paced. We were sometimes getting the ball 35 yards from goal and putting our foot on it, waiting for movement. But even though it was too pedestrian, it was all Liverpool. After 15 minutes, we had 85% possession. And we had 102 successful passes in the first 15 minutes and Burnley had 9. 9 successful passes in 15 minutes. Then Canate should have opened the scoring. He got right underneath the ball from 2 yards from a corner and headed it over. That would have changed the game right there. Then Kerkez breaks into the box and don't do that, lad. That was an awful dive. It's deserving of a yellow card, and that is unbecoming for a Liverpool player. You don't do that. Come on. And I think he paid the price, because I don't know this, but I think Arne Slot saw that and pulled him and said, you're coming off, not just because you're on a yellow, but because of how you were on a yellow. And I think he did it to teach him a lesson. And it's the second time this season already that he's been taken off because of completely unnecessary yellow cards. At least the first one was a tackle, not a great tackle, but this one, come on lad, you've got to be better than that. Anyway, that gave Andy Robbo his first proper minutes of the season, and he almost scored with his first involvement. Got the ball in the box and he tried to, I don't know, curl it with the outside of his boot, when he should have just buried it. He should have just lashed at it. Even if it went to Rose head, he should have, it was a good chance, could have scored. And we had an overall lack of cutting edge. Gravenberch was the standout player in that first half. He was doing those usual half turns, and he was creating space, and he was breaking through the lines to a point until we hit that brick wall. Gakpo, far too predictable. Salah, anonymous in that first half. And Ekitike kept getting crowded out. So at half time, it was a really drab 0-0. Second half, another substitution. McAllister, who got clattered in the first half with a nasty challenge. He came off, hopefully precautionary. But Szoboszlai went into midfield. Conor Bradley went to right back. And as usual, we completely upped the pace from minute one of the second half. So I have to ask, why don't we do that more in the first half? I know we want to pace ourselves, but we're putting a lot of pressure on trying to win games in only one half of football. Anyway, the pressure was paying off. Gravenberch blasted one over. Conor Bradley headed one, I think, might have been going in, but it deflected off the defender's head. Szoboszlai hit a pile drive from 25 yards, that was saved. Florian Wirtz was starting to play these intricate little passes on the edge of the box, and it looked like we were going to get a breakthrough at some point, but it still wouldn't come. 71 minutes, Chiesa comes on for Ekitike, and just like Robbo, instantly he has a huge chance and he fluffs his header from 12 yards. But if he put it either side of the keeper on target, it was a goal. Then on 78 minutes, and this can happen when a team is just defending, one of their players gets booked for the second time, gets a red card. But it didn't change anything, because instead of being 5-4-1, where the 1 was in their half, it was 5-4-0. So nothing changed. We couldn't find that pass, we couldn't find that bit of invention, and Burnley blocked everything that we threw at them. Corner after corner, pass after pass, ended up with a block after block. Last throw of the dice, Frimpong came on, YNWA came on, Slot sacrificed the central defender, took off Kanate because we didn't need him, and so we had all the attacking options left to us when now on the pitch. And then with the clock at 93 minutes of 95, and me and my lad are sitting there watching, thinking, all right, this is the one where we just don't get over the line. But ex-Man United player Hannibal goes like that. Oh my God, what was he thinking? What was he thinking? It wasn't even that dangerous a cross from Frimpong, and it probably would have just been nodded out again like all the others were. And he knew it immediately. And even Michael Oliver couldn't not give that one. So it's up to Mo Salah, who had a game to completely forget, and he blasted into the top corner. Not a problem. And yet again, we do it in added time. And this is not a fluke. We never give up. We play until that final whistle. And you know what? The law of averages says if you've got 81% possession and almost 30 shots, and you're trying everything to break it down, something in the end will break. And it normally does, and it did. Against Bournemouth, it was Chiesa and Salah moments in the 88th and 93rd minutes. Against Newcastle, it was the Szoboszlai and YNWA moment in the 100th minute. Against Arsenal, it was that fantastic Szoboszlai free kick in the 83rd minute, and today it was Mo Salah's moment in the 95th. Extraordinary numbers. You think about those 4 games. In the 82nd minute of all 4 games, we only had a point. So had we not got these late goals, we would have been on 4 points from those 4 games going into the last 8 minutes of a game, but we've turned those 4 points into 12. It's because what we do. We do this more than anybody else, and it's not just recently. It's been for many years that Liverpool get these 90-plus minute goals. Let's remember too that this is a game immediately after the international break, where loads of our players are flying all over the world, different time zones, and then coming back with only a couple of days training to get ready. And we invariably do not put on a great performance after international breaks. In fact, last season, we lost our only home game to Nottingham Forest, and that was the last time we failed to score in a game. And we almost failed to score in this one, but of course we didn't. We scored in our 38th consecutive Premier League game, continuing to build on the record we got when we scored against Arsenal. As well, it's our 2nd clean sheet in a row. And while you can say, well, it's only against Burnley and they didn't have any ambition at all to try and score, it's against the likes of these teams where we've been sucker punched so many times in the past. And they had a couple of half moments in this game that they could have sneaked a goal, but we got another clean sheet. And Konate and Van Dijk, once again, even though they had little threat, they mopped up everything that they needed to. So it's another clean sheet, and I'll take it. Oh, and it is worth mentioning that between Michael Oliver as referee, Chris Kavanagh as 4th official, and Paul Tierney on VAR, they didn't influence the game. They didn't screw us whatsoever, not even once. So good, we've got those 3 out the way too. One other point I think is really important. We're on 12 points, and there are 3 teams who are all joint second on 9 points. Those 3 teams are Arsenal, Spurs and Bournemouth. Now, Arsenal and Bournemouth have won 3 of their 4 games. The only games they have dropped points, the only games they have lost are against us. So we've beaten 2 of the teams that are currently joint second in the league. No one else has taken the point off them. Now, having said all that, a little bit of reality check. We can't keep doing this. We can't keep relying on late goals. We have to start creating. We have to start playing through the lines. We have to start putting these teams to the sword in terms of chance creation and goal scoring. And we know we've got it in us. We know we've got incredibly creative midfielders, and we know we've got top class, world class strikers. And so it's only a matter of time, but we need to get it sooner rather than later. And to do that, we need Mo Salah and Cody Gakpo to do more. Gakpo was too one-dimensional today, and he rarely goes on the outside, and he should have put Kyle Walker to the sword more than he did. Mo Salah was just not at the races again, and that's becoming a bit of a concern, let's be honest. But I have to give a shout out to Mo Salah, because he went to 4th on his own in the all-time Premier League goal scoring chart, one ahead of another ex-man, Andy Cole, with 188 goals. He's only 20 behind 3rd place, and he's only 25 behind 2nd place. So let's hope he gets them this season. And of course, we've got Alexander Isak yet to come in, who didn't even feature on the bench today. But apparently he's going to play some parts against Atletico, so he should be available for next week's minor Premier League game against Everton. I'll do a pre-game video about Atletico, so I won't talk about that one yet. But next week, it's the early kickoff against Everton, who, as always, will be trying to scupper us. They'll do everything they can to get a result. We've got to remember David Moyes' record at Anfield. David Moyes' record against any of the so-called big clubs is pretty dismal, and so this is one where I think we've got to go at them from the start. We need to make sure that David Moyes' dismal record at Anfield continues. So there we are, onto the Champions League. Maximum points, top of the league by 3 points, joint highest goal scorers, and 2 clean sheets in a row. Not bad, is it? See you soon. You never walk alone. Cheers. Ta-ra.